Okay, we're ready to get started. It is Thursday. We're going to do a few Rashis from the fifth Aliyah in this week's Parsha, which is Tisa. Yesterday we talked a little bit about the Cheta Egel and how God forgives the Jewish people, the back and forth between Moshe and HaKadosh Baruch Hu about the level of forgiveness of the Jewish people and the interchange between them about that. In this Aliyah today, the fifth Aliyah, we have the full reconciliation between God and the Jewish people coming to fruition, in which Hashem tells Moshe, "Psolacha shnei luchos avanim karishonim." I want you to carve new luchos. And that carving of new luchos was indicative of the fact that the relationship would be renewed, even though the luchos were broken, even though the Jewish people messed up so badly, even though there was this great rift. It symbolized a recreation of the luchos, a re-giving of the Torah, a brand newfound rapprochement between God and the Jewish people, and that's how our Aliyah begins today, almost the reconstitution of Matan Torah. And in that reconstitution, we learned something that we learned way back when, which is something that happens in Yisro, Mishpatim. It's reiterated many, many times, which is Ve'ish lo ya'le imach v'gam ish al yira b'chol hahar gam hatzon v'abakar al yiru amu hahar hahu. No one can come up to receive the Torah except for you, Moshe Rabbeinu. And it stresses here, not only should the people be at a distance, which is true in Yisro, Mishpatim, and that the people had to be cordoned off and they weren't allowed to touch the mountain, they weren't allowed to approach it. But over here, it stresses even more emphatically, Ish lo ya'le imach, no one should come with you. And the Rashi comments on why that's so important now in the second go-around of the giving of the Torah, the second go-around of the Luchos after Chet HaEgel. It says, Harishonos al yedei shayu v'tshuos v'kolos v'kihila shalta behen ayin ra. Ein l'cha yafe min hatznius. The first round of Matan Torah, which did not go well, which ended in the destruction of the Luchos and the Chet HaEgel, there was a lot of fanfare, there was a lot of noise, there was a lot of sounds, there was a lot of lightning and thunder and the sounds of shofros and the cloud over the mountain. And it was like a massive, major, monumental, public, very seen, very felt event. And although Rashi is not claiming that that was the cause of the downfall of the event, Rashi is explaining that sometimes the public nature of events could cause the Ayin Hara to come and control it. Now, what exactly the Ayin Hara is not a topic for today's little mini Rashi share, and perhaps not even a topic I'm competent to fully speak about. But in some way, it's the opposite. It's the second half of the Rashi that interests me, which is Ein lecha yafe min hatznius. The contrast here is Ish lo ya'le imach. Forget all the noise, forget all the fanfare, you're going to come up alone. And that private moment is one of great kedusha. That tznius, that modesty, that inwardness is something of great holiness and great beauty. Ein lecha yafe min hatznius. So however we explain perhaps the detriment of the public nature of events, it's hard to understand what Ayin Hara is over there, but there's something about big fanfare and a lot of attention that sometimes leads to our downfall. Whether you explain it in a practical way or a metaphysical way or an Ayin Hara way, something about the public nature of things at times can lead us astray. Whereas what's being highlighted here is, okay, in the second go-around, says Hashem, forget all that public stuff. Ish lo ya'le imach. You're going to come up absolutely alone in a very private, modest fashion. And there's something beautiful about that that can lead to potential greatness as well. We think that the big fanfare moments are the ones that lead to greatness, but really it's the moments of tznius, of modesty, of care and concern in a private matter that can actually lead to our greatness. And so that's something that I thought was important to highlight today about Ish lo ya'le imach. It's not only because people are not at the level of Kedusha, they could come up with Moshe Rabbeinu to the mountain to receive the Torah, but also because there's a value to modesty, which is being highlighted here as well. Hashem tells him that after he's supposed to carve the luchos, etc., Hashem does come down to him, descends upon the mountain. Moshe calls out in the name of Hashem, and Hashem calls out with his name, just as he had promised to do. This is what we saw yesterday, that Moshe Rabbeinu wants to know more about Hashem. He wants to know more about his ways and about the secrets of how the world runs. He wants to know the fullness of his name. Hashem says, okay, I'm going to do that for you in this moment. I'm going to reveal more to myself about you. And the way he does that, right? Remember we talked about yesterday, if he wraps himself in a garment, he teaches him the sodos of tefillah, the secrets of prayer for the future of the saving of the Jewish people. So now in our Aliyah, this is all coming to fruition. And Hashem does this. And what Hashem reveals to him is the 13 attributes, the 13 midos. Hashem, kel rachum b'chanun erech apayim v'rav chesed be'emes, notzer chesed lalafim, nosei avon v'afesh v'chata'av v'nakeh. It's a whole debate about how to count the 13 attributes within these psukim, but certainly the first attribute or the first two attributes, it comes through the word Hashem. And Rashi comments on the double language of Vayikra Hashem. When Hashem reveals all this to Moshe in terms of his attributes, he repeats the word Hashem twice. And Chazal say, Rashi's quoting that over here, that the reason why it's quoted twice is Hu Midas Rachamim. The fact that it's quoted twice is itself one of the traits of compassion that's being conveyed here in this list of 13. How is the double mention of the name compassionate, right? We know the name Hashem itself is the name of compassion, but how is the double mention of the name a sign of compassion? Because it's indicative of achas kodem sheyechta, ve'achas la'achar sheyechta v'yashuv. Hashem means God's name, God's being, God's relationship with you is the same before you sin and after you sin. God is the constant. God is there all the time. God is there to receive us in tshuva. And that itself is a form of compassion. We know so often in human relationships that after someone hurts the other party, even after reconciliation, it's hard to be at the same level of the relationship again. And what Hashem reassures us in this moment is that Anihu kodem sheyechta ve'anahu l'achar sheyechta. Even when you mess up, even when you distance yourself, even when you fail, I will still be there to have the same relationship with you before and after. You have to make amends, you have to do tshuva, you have to fix it. All those things, of course, 100% are true. But in terms of our relationship, in terms of my interest in you, in terms of everything that I represent for you, I remain a constant. I remain solid. That is so encouraging. That is so beautiful. That is such a sign of the chesed of Hashem that we as human beings perhaps are not totally capable of achieving, but which Hashem really is. Something that should spur us and encourage us to do tshuva, and knowing that we have the fullest chance to be able to reconcile the relationship with Hashem. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Take
Thanks,
care.
Rabbi.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Be well.